ESPN, and it starts with Sports Center with Stephen A. Smith at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, followed by NBA Countdown, Maria, Jalen, and the crew. Then we'll have the NBA Draft Lottery, and finally Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals between the Clippers and Suns at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, with Phoenix up 1-0. Everything's also streaming live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. One app, one tab. Let's get it. Ben Simmons' offensive struggles were a big talking point in these playoffs. It started with his shot selection. In 12 games, Simmons attempted 95 shots. Just one of those came outside of the paint. In the fourth quarter, the shots disappeared entirely. In nearly 80 minutes of fourth quarter play, Simmons took just 6 attempts. Against the Hawks in games 4 through 7, he took 0 attempts in the fourth, but his struggles were most evident at the free throw line, as Simmons shot just 34%, the worst free throw percentage by any player in playoff history, with a minimum of 70 attempts. Here's Doc Rivers, who's also taken some heat of late.
I know exactly what we want to do. I'm positive in Ben. I'm very bullish on Ben still. But there's work, Mark. There is. And Ben will be willing to do it. And that's the key. Sometimes you have to go through stuff to see it and be honest with it.
Got to put in that work. Big Perk knows what that takes. An NBA champion himself. Good to see you, sir. I will get to you in just a moment, but I'm going to start with Max Kellerman on this one, if that's okay with you, Perk and Stephen A. Max, is Ben Simmons fixable?
Yeah, I think he can be fixed, not in Philly. Like the Philly fans who get such a bad rap for riding guys, and they deserve it sometimes, they've supported Ben Simmons just like they supported Markelle Fultz. Fultz would hit a free throw, they'd go nuts, right? Because they were trying to build him up. And they've done that with Simmons time and again. How could you stick with this guy after that performance? He has to get out of town. He's going to have to leave. But, guys, watch Summer League from a couple years ago. He was taking and hitting shots. Jump shots, believe it or not. It's there in him somewhere. The problem is between the ears. So where could he go to get fixed? I think Magic was on the show yesterday, and we were talking about, and I was saying, which coach could fix him, and Magic was talking about a veteran player. Well, who's his agent? Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, right? Where might they be able to swing a trade, especially now that he's so devalued? Maybe the Lakers. Maybe it's LeBron James, whose game Simmons resembles in certain ways, in many ways, in fact. Maybe that's where he has to go to get the proper kind of veteran guidance with a chance to win and a franchise where maybe he eventually gets the keys. I think he's fixable, guys. It cannot occur in Philadelphia.
Well, if it can't occur in Philadelphia, which we both agree on, then that means it can't be fixed. Because the only reason we're asking this question is because he's in Philadelphia. We're certainly not advocating that Ben Simmons be removed from the NBA, that he's not on an NBA roster, that he doesn't play in an NBA uniform. Nobody is saying that. The reason why this question exists is because after losing yet again in the conference semifinals for the third time in 4 years, we're looking at Ben Simmons being coached by Doc Rivers, not Brett Brown this time, and we're saying, okay, what does the future hold from him? There. And the answer is he needs to go. And he needs to go because Philadelphia is a very unforgiving environment. The die has been cast. We get all of that. Doc Rivers, with all due respect, all his experiences and everything else, he's a champion. He coached in Boston. Kendrick Perkins, correct me if I'm wrong. He coached in Boston where he won a championship and went to 2 NBA finals in 3 years. He coached in Orlando before that. He coached the Clippers after that. He's coaching Philadelphia now this first year. I believe this was his first year there. And Doc Rivers was on somewhat of a honeymoon. Because in the city of Philadelphia, he was a godsend compared to Brett Brown. No disrespect. I'm just giving you fact. So he's not really feeling the heat. As somebody that worked in Philadelphia for 17 years, that was a columnist for the last 7 years there, let me tell you something. It ain't going to get any easier for Ben Simmons. And here's why it's not going to get any easier. And Kendrick Perkins will side with me. I'm pretty damn sure he's going to march with me lockstep on this. 4 years Ben Simmons been in the NBA. The game is the same. He can go downhill. He can rebound. He's an elite defender. But offensively, he does nothing different. He never developed this game. He's in California. You understand, chilling with the Kardashians. You know, if you remember when Jimmy Butler was there 2 years ago, last year, not 2 years ago, but last year, remember, they had lost and got blown out in Miami, right? They got blown out in Miami, and the whole team left, but he stayed in South Beach. That was reported. What I'm saying to you is this. This ain't like the old days where you got to get a second job to make ends meet because the sport doesn't pay you enough money. This brother's getting paid over $30 million a year. You got brothers getting paid to do nothing but play basketball. And what I monitor, and I believe I'm an absolute expert at this, I monitor what you were compared to what you are. I'm watching whether or not you developed your game. Did you work on it? Ben Simmons looks the same as he has always looked, which means he never worked on his game. And if you didn't work on your game, why should I trust you if I'm Philly? Yeah, 4 years. I gave you 30+ million per, and you still didn't work on your game. I'm sorry. You got to go in another direction.
You know what? Here's the thing I think we all need to ask ourselves and be honest. Who is Ben Simmons, okay? And we want to label him as a point guard, right? And I don't feel that way. In college, he played the power forward, and he flourished well at that position. To me, I'm looking at Ben Simmons right now, and he's a Sabonis-type player. The way that the way that the Pacers use Sabonis, that's how Ben Simmons has to be used. He has to be a guy that's able to be initiating the offense, going dribble handoffs, rolling to the basket, being a lob threat, getting the ball on the low block, getting touches around the paint area, and assisting. He's still great at facilitating for others because he led the NBA this year in 3 points assisted. But when I look at Ben Simmons in the situation, I want to be fair because I was very critical of him on the get-up yesterday. And I had to think about this. Go back and look at Ben Simmons' game, the Philadelphia 76ers game without Joel Embiid. He was on the tear. Matter of fact, he dropped 40 on Rudy Gobert down there in Utah, the defensive player of the year, doing what he do best, attacking downhill. So when I'm looking at Ben Simmons, I feel like his confidence was lost throughout the course of the season because they were running so much through Joel Embiid, and he was standing around so much, not diving and getting the touches, getting the feel for the basketball, being able to shoot his hooks, not being able to get those post touches at a consistent basis, and it's transpired into the postseason. So when you ask him to start delivering in the postseason, now all of a sudden his confidence is gone. It's shot because the offense, 70% of the offense is ran through Joel Embiid. So with that being said, they got to ship him off somewhere, probably to Minnesota, where he'll fit in with Karl Anthony Towns, who love to float around the three-point line and let Ben Simmons dominate the paint area.
Well, see, I think the thing that's important to deduce from what you're saying, KP, is that, like me and Max, you're not saying the brother can't be a star in this league. You're not saying that he can't play in this league at a very high level. You're just saying Philadelphia is no longer the place. And why are we saying that? We're saying that for two reasons. Number one, we're saying that because we know Joel Embiid ain't going nowhere for the foreseeable future. It ain't like you're going to sit Joel Embiid on a bench for him. That's number one. Number two, and more importantly, I will be consistent with what I said, just like you brought up what you said at the very beginning. Before a game was played this year, I was on the record. Philadelphia ain't winning the championship when your primary ball handler can't shoot the basketball. Ben Simmons has to be able to shoot the basketball in order for the Philadelphia 76ers to shine to the level that we want, because he's too gifted in every other area not to be on the floor. You have to have him on the floor because he's gifted in every other way. But offensively, against the better teams in the postseason, Offensively, the Philadelphia 76ers are playing 4 against 5 because he's not a threat from the perimeter, and that compromises what you need done come postseason time. That's why I ain't say take money out of his pocket. I didn't say he doesn't deserve his money. I'm saying in Philadelphia, he's not that player. He has to go somewhere else. It can't be here.
Well, that's why Brett Brown put him in the dunker spot in the playoffs. He was unplayable at the point guard position. To your point, KP, but the only thing is that given his speed and his handles, he's not going to be Sabonis or whoever you want to compare him to. Like the temptation to play him at the point, he has elite speed at 6'10". Who's ever had better handles at the height of 6'10"? He's dynamic. He can get to the basket. He can finish at the basket, when he's not scared to go to the free throw line. His court vision is A+. His passing is A+. It's too tempting to have him run the team. And since we've seen him hit jump shots in the past in Summer League, that means what's happening is not that he's capable of doing it. He refuses to do it. But the point is, Perk, what's the real difference between the ears? He's not the bigger the stage, the more scared he is.
Max, Big Perk. Big Perk and Max, I just received a text. You know how Max, I get my text messages during the show. Y'all know that. I just received a text from somebody very, very close to the situation in Philadelphia about Ben Simmons. This is a quote. This is not me. This is them. Quote, he doesn't work. He doesn't listen. And everyone around him is family. And he's constantly babied.
Yeah, that's
the word
that's credible, isn't
about
it?
Ben Simmons.
That's credible. Let me just say this, guys. This is why I said, Perk, the Lakers would be the place for him. I think Magic is right. It needs to come from a veteran player, that kind of mentorship. Someone like LeBron James could do it. It has to have someone with real gravitas who has a game similar to his to take him under his wing and say, this is how it's done.
Please.
Max,
he's represented by Clutch Sports. That's close enough to LeBron James. They talked.
Max.
Yes.
And Max, Danny Green is on that team, right? He's a 3-time champion. You know how to rub off on him for his hard work. Dwight Howard is over there. He's a champion, a future Hall of Famer. That's hard work. But look, to your point, Max, and this is why I want you to graduate and grow with me, okay? This is why I want you to actually start. Listen, this is why I actually want you to actually start watching the game, except when there's national televised throughout the course of the season, and actually turn on the league pass. Because if you watch the Indiana Pacers, you will watch Sabonis grab a rebound and push the ball up the floor and initiate the offense. That don't mean that he's the point guard. All I'm saying is he's a dual forward. He's a forward, a power forward that can handle the rock and initiate dribble handoffs. And what I'm saying is, my whole point to you, Max, was him and Embiid just don't fit. They don't fit. I wanted to see it happen. But it's just not going to happen. They don't fit. They need their own team. They need their own space. He's a third option guy, and he would fit well with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards in Minnesota.
All right.
Not enough shooting maybe with Edwards and Simmons, but yeah, I like it.
Hey, Molly.
Yeah.
Molly. Max talks so damn much, he doesn't even listen enough to give his own self credit. Long before me or Kendrick Perkins ever said anything, over a year ago, you can roll up the tape. Max said Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons don't fit. He would trade one of them. Mm-hmm. So Max Kellerman was one of the first people to bring that up. But he talks so damn much, he forgets what he says and didn't even remember to give his own self credit for that.
That's nice.
He actually said that over a year ago. Max beat me to that.
I rely on you
Max
for that.
beat me to that.
That's impressive. We do have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. That's what my dad told me. All right, let's take a quick break. Big Perk, you sit tight. We'll get to you in a hot second here. Guys, yesterday on this show, Stephen A. said Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bean Bryant. Someone says not so fast. This is a debate you don't want to miss. Next, Laker Nation, stand up. Plus, Tom Brady went on the shop fired some shots at another quarterback. Just who was TB12 referring to? Max has a guess that you do not want to miss. Stay here. It's First Take.
You're asking me, Molly, if I've learned my lesson.
Oh my God. I apologize. Why am I doing the show with you?
I think that's the best shot.
Are you dear Abby now? What are you dear? Is that what you are?